Hello, welcome to another edition of On Deck. I'm being joined slowly by the rest of the staff here. There he is, Big Dog Greg. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys this morning or this afternoon?
Doing good. And the man behind everything C2C, the working man, Mr. Crispy Bacon. How you doing? You're on mute, Chris. Nope, you're still on mute. Sorry for a little technical issues. We know how the internet works. There he is, Crispy Bacon. Okay. How you doing? All right, I'm back. Chris, how you doing, bud? We all good? Anyways, Greg, I don't know if Chris might be frozen, so we'll get going. Yeah, something's going on. So, Greg, Cardinals draft or trade. How are we doing?
So far there hasn't been a ton going on in the trade market, but I hear that we might have something brewing with the Rangers. I'm kind of curious as to what that is because I understand that the Rangers are kind of putting the full court press on. They want Jordan Hicks, our star reliever.
Okay.
One of our better players, but they need something in the bullpen, and we're trying to do a little selling at this point. We're 10.5 out of the wild card. We're 13 under 500. We're 46-59. Went on another 4-6 over our last 10. So we're definitely listening to deals. So we may end up getting rid of a couple players to the Rangers. I don't know who we would get in return because the Rangers, I don't think they're going to give up any other big time starters or anything. So might be a couple prospects or something. But it looks like the Rangers and the Cardinals are trying to seal a deal today.
Okay. Well, maybe if we're lucky in the hour, we'll get some breaking news here that the Rangers and Cardinals made a deal. That's always fun. Chris, sounds like your Rangers are talking to the Cardinals. I also saw something that they may be talking to the Mets to bring Verlander to town. So, what do you know about your Rangers and trades?
Hopefully, they can get Verlander back home, so to speak. I think he's a Texan. He went to school here, but that'd be cool if he was here. I haven't heard much of anything with the Rangers. I know they're trying to make deals or trying to do stuff, but other than that, it should be interesting next couple days, hopefully.
Yeah, trade deadline in a couple days, 6 p.m. Central on Tuesday. The Twins, the only trade I've seen so far is that they did swap relievers. They might have thrown in receivers, I don't know, but they sent Lopez to the Marlins in exchange for another struggling reliever. But I think it was more of a family issue. From what I've been hearing, is Lopez wanted to be closer to home for his son, I guess. So, but outside of that, they've been linked to a lot of bats, including a couple from the Cardinals, a couple from the Mets. haven't done nothing, but that's the Twins' way. They don't make many moves. I mean, they got Polanco back in the lineup. They're supposed to get Theobar back. Buxton's back. So that might be their mojo like normal is, we're getting these guys back from injury list. Let's hope they stay healthy. That's going to be our trade deadline. But so I don't see them making too many moves unless the Guardians do. And I know the Guardians made one move, I think, recently. So we'll see where it goes. A couple days left. So a couple names out there now. Sounds like the Padres are willing to talk about Juan Soto. So the guy they got last year, Greg, is that smart for the Padres to maybe throw Juan Soto out there?
I don't think it would really be smart because they basically gave up half the town for him to get him. So I really don't understand that. That'd be almost as bad as when my Colts pretty much gave away everything to get Wentz and then used him as a 1-year rental for some reason. So I think that you need to keep Soto in there. I mean, he's just a generational talent. He's still really young. He's got a lot of pop, got a lot of speed on the bases. So I don't know why they would be shopping him around. I know that he's they owe him a lot of money for a lot of years and everything, but I don't think he's the one that you get rid of. I can see them maybe getting rid of Hader or someone else, from a pitching standpoint, if they're not really going to contend this year for some more prospects. But I don't understand why they'd be trying to break up that big three. The big three that they have in their lineup with Machado and Tatis and Soto is working. It's just that there's been a lot of other things that's been out of sync for the Padres this season. The bottom of the lineup hasn't been hitting that well and stuff. But I understand that they might be taking offers for something. There might be an offer that's too good to be true that they have to take, but I really don't see any sense in this because they gave up everything to get Soto.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, if they're going to break up the big three, I think you go with the older guy, and I think you move Machado. I mean, but all three of those guys got some big contracts. Chris, what's your thoughts on San Diego Padres saying that they listen to Juan Soto offers?
I'm sure everybody's listening to some kind of offer.
That is true.
It's not just a certain team. It's anybody, and every player, just whether you're signed to a contract or not, I think you're on the market.
Yep. No, and that's honestly too, because the Twins used to do that back in the day where, getting close to this, when it was they had the trade deadline and then they have a waiver trade deadline. So after the trade deadline, everybody became eligible for trades, and then you had to work out a deal with that special. I'm glad they got rid of that waiver trade deadline. It was confusing, but the Twins would always do that. They would put all their stars on the waiver trade deadline, and then people will start panicking, and nothing happened. So, Angels, on the other hand, made some moves. Supposedly pulled Ohtani off the trade block. After they did that, he throws a one-hit complete game and then goes out the next it's a doubleheader. The next game hits 2 home runs in the win. Greg, do you think Angels are true, or you think it was a ploy to try to get teams to give them their best offer?
I think that the Angels realize that Ohtani brings a lot of people into the stands.
Yep.
Over the years, teams have had that one player that brought a lot of people into the seats. So, I think that the Angels know that they got a diamond in the rough. They got something really, really good in Ohtani, and they want to try to keep him at all costs. No pun intended. And I think that getting Giolito and making some decent moves to show that they're serious, to kind of solidify the pitching rotation, to give some strength to their overall pitching health. I think that goes a long way to try to show Ohtani that, hey, we're serious. We're going to try to make a run. We're going to try to be a lot more competitive than we have past few seasons. So, and I think that will make Mike Trout happy as well, because he's been racking up awards, racking up a lot of home runs, putting up a lot of good stats, getting a lot of MVPs and everything, but he has nothing to show for postseason wise. So I think that shows both Trout and Ohtani, their franchise players, that they're serious and and they're wanting to really make a splash and try to improve their chances of making the postseason. So I think that it was a good deal. I think that Giolito, of all the pitchers out there, was one of the better pickups. And, if anybody needed a change of venue, it was Giolito. I think that the White Sox, just in the last few years with hiring La Russa, then getting rid of La Russa and everything that's been going on, I think that it's good for some of those guys to get a change of scenery, because that franchise just hasn't been doing anybody any favors.
Okay. Chris, your thoughts on the Angels pulling Ohtani off of the trade block?
I think Ohtani a couple times I said I know he wants to win, but he also wants to stay in, LA where he's at, or possibly go to Padres, but I know he wants to stay in that LA area. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's, and it might be the culture thing, kind of commitment. He wants to stay committed to the team that brought him here, stay in the local area. To me, Ohtani's the key. He's the golden goose, I guess. Two-way player, most likely MVP, maybe Cy Young, most likely MVP. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good move, being that I've seen the Angels make some moves. But again, I can see it being a ploy, a bluff, being, all right, we're going to pull them off, and then, maybe in the back of their mind, they're hoping that they get that Herschel Walker-esque type deal where they get, top prospects and all that for them. So we will see what happens Tuesday. But, Greg, you speak of the White Sox. I mean, they made some moves. They cut some cap. They got, I believe the report was with the deals they made, they've gotten like 6 prospects, all that were the top prospects of those teams. So, yeah, they might be building towards the future. So, White Sox.
Yeah, they cut a lot of contract money. Yep. So, they're going to free up some cap space.
Yep. And I know the White Sox organization, too, they got a lot of second-generation players. I think they got not Ohtani, David Ortiz's boy, Pedro Martinez's boy. I know there was a list. I think they got like 5 or 6 former MLB players on their sons in their organization. So White Sox, if Mess Around Dave's watching, White Sox might be scary down the road. But again, we don't know, because those are probably still 2-3 years out. That's one thing about baseball is, me and Chris were talking backstage. Why don't they trade draft picks? That's just because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't see them right away, So, other news: Aaron Judge returns. Greg, do you think that's going to help the Yankees here? I mean, they're 9 out. Or the Yankees are just going to try to play healthy for the rest of the year.
I think that anything at this point for the Yankees would help, but definitely getting your star right fielder back into the lineup, your big home run threat, your doubles threat. He provides good leadership in the dugout. He's a good team leader, team guy. I think it's definitely going to help and inject a little bit more offense into that lineup. So I think that getting him back, getting him full strength, because Stanton's been playing most of the season pretty healthy. I think that it'll be a good shot in the arm. I don't know if they're going to really close in on the Orioles or not, but I definitely think it's going to keep them in the mix for a wild card spot, as long as they can keep Judge healthy, keep Stanton healthy, keep Rizzo out there. Get LeMahieu dialed in a little bit more. I think they'll be just fine for the last of the season.
Yeah, looking at the standings, White Sox sitting last, 9 behind of the Orioles, But you look at the wild card, they're 4 back, so that puts them third out of the wild card spot, so second. So yeah, they got a shot. So Chris, Yankees Judge coming back, is that going to help, or is that going to kind of just, are they just kind of playing ball just to kind of stay healthy?
I think it's both. I mean, yeah, you want to stay healthy and make a run, but like Greg was saying, any weapon, so to speak, like Judge or anybody else, it's going to help the team in some way. Whether they put them, in the back of the lineup for a little bit just to get them acclimated again, or using them like they were. But I think having them out there is beneficial for them. And any player that's out there is going to be beneficial.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's the Yankees, so they want to win. We all know that, but I think right now for them it's just to kind of focus on. I mean, they're still in the wild card race. They're still in the division race. Anybody coming back healthy, but I think right now just focus on staying healthy, and then let's see what August and September brings. Granted, you can't make any moves, but I mean, you're definitely not going to be sellers right now as the Yankees, but you probably just stay pat. I don't think you make any. I don't think that the Yankees are going to make any major deals. I think they're just going to kind of stay pat. So, well, let's get into the divisions here. Let's just talk a few. Looks like we got a good battle. Speaking of the American League East, Baltimore took the lead over, I think, since our last show. They're up a game and a half on the Rays, who's pretty much been leading that whole division for the year. So, Greg, I know we kind of touched it last week. Baltimore's in the driver's seat. Do we see Tampa bouncing back, or what do you think?
I predicted a few weeks ago that I thought that Baltimore was going to take this division. I still think that Baltimore is going to take the division. I don't really know why Baltimore's not making more moves or, making more headlines of trying to put some pressure on some teams to get some players right now at the trade deadline.
Yep.
I think that pitching depth is a thing that most teams need, and I think that the Orioles, that's kind of like the missing piece that they need as another decent pitcher, whether it's a reliever or a starter. Primarily a starter is what they need, but I think that the Rays started out so hot in the season and had huge expectations, and they're still a decent team. They're a quality team, but they're just kind of a team that's lost its groove. And I think that they might be able to get some of that back, but I think that the Orioles are still going to be able to keep them a few games back when it's all said and done. I think that Tampa's just kind of slipping. There's something going on there where they're just not playing quite as quality a ball. The Rays playing quite as quality a ball as they did. I think that they're one of those teams. They always say in sports, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yep,
and exactly.
Started out hot. They were the team to beat. Everybody was getting on the bandwagon saying, "Oh man, they're going to run away with this." And everything, and they've just slowed down. And so you've had teams like the Orioles and the Braves slowly catch them, and then now they've been surpassed by both. So I think that Tampa is just going to end up a little bit short because they just seem to be a little bit out of sync at this point.
Okay. Chris, your thoughts on the AL East with the Baltimore leading?
Yeah, it's interesting that they haven't made any moves yet, but I feel like a lot of teams that are in the position like Baltimore, they kind of feel like, oh, we're doing good. We don't need anybody else. And I've seen it in other sports, but I think, like we were talking about a minute ago, any move you make, player that's out there, it is a big move or a big situation. I just think to keep that spot, maybe they need to find more additions or another addition.
Yeah, I think over the last almost 2 years now, I know end of last year we were kind of all rooting for Baltimore, and now they're leading right now. They fell short last year up there. I agree with you guys. I don't know why they're not making any moves. Maybe there's just nothing out there that attracts them. I mean, okay, let's throw Ohtani away, but but maybe they just feel they got the team. They want to run with this team. There's nothing wrong with it. Maybe they're kind of waiting for Tampa to make a move to kind of counteract it. But I think Baltimore is kind of just going to kind of sit there and kind of wait and see over the next couple of days. And hopefully this is their year. Hopefully they get the playoffs this year. So moving to the Central, my Twins leading a game and a half, been up and down. Thank God Cleveland's not playing much better. They're at 500. But pretty much the battle's between them two. Detroit's 7.5 back. So Twins, to me, I'll start off that they could lose this division if they don't get a solid bat in that lineup with the guys that they've been linked to: Goldschmidt, Arenado, Alonso. I think they're going to struggle, especially if Cleveland keeps making moves. I know they just made a move the other day to bring, I forgot who it was in, but they're just, the pitching's there. I would take the pitch. I would at least take the starters, but the relievers, still need help. But this is the year the Twins should not stay pat. As much as I think they're going to, I don't think they're going to make a major move by Tuesday. So, Greg, your thoughts on the Twins in the Central?
My thoughts on the Twins in the Central is, something seems to be amiss with Buxton. I mean, he's just not putting the bat on the ball. Yep. He's high strikeout rates. He's just, he's had a lot of like 0 for 3, 0 for 4, even like over kind of games. A lot of strikeouts. He's just not that player that we saw a couple of years ago that was lighting the world on fire. He kind of reminded me of Acuna Jr. for a while there, the way he was playing outfield, has a decent arm, and was getting a lot of home runs, stolen bases, and everything. And now he's been DHing because he's had lingering injuries and everything. So they're trying to keep him from having to do a whole lot. But even at the DH spot now, he's not putting the bat on the ball. So that's an issue right there when you got a star player that's under a lot of, owed a lot of money under contract and stuff, and they're not performing. And then I think that, like you said, the Twins have really good pitching. Pablo Lopez has been on fire. He's had a really, really good year this year. He's getting a lot of Ks. He's been going 6 innings or more, in a lot of games this year for him. So they do have some pitching. They just don't have a whole lot in their lineup right now to generate a lot of runs. At least it doesn't seem to. And like sometimes when their pitching's off, sometimes their hitting comes around. But then when the pitching's on, they don't get a lot of run support. So it's just kind of like a never-ending battle. And unfortunately, in baseball, there's a lot of teams like that where you get an outing from a pitcher, but it's wasted because you only get 1 or 2 runs on the board. No run support.
Yep.
And so I do think that the Twins do need to make a move to get somebody in like the 3 through 5 spot. They need a good 3, 4, 5 hitter. Because they do have talent. They play decent defense. They have good pitching. They just don't seem to have a consistent offense, in my opinion.
Nope, I totally agree with you. Chris, thoughts on the Twins?
I mean, any team in first place, they have a chance to continue their winning streak or just fall off and maybe potentially make a wild card or just not make any playoff spot. But it's theirs to lose, so to speak, and there's still a lot of baseball to go.
Yep, exactly. Chris, let's move to the West. Your team, the Rangers, are leading 2 up on Houston. Anaheim or the Angels, Los Angeles is 6 back. Seattle 6.5 back. Chris, what do you think for your Rangers?
Hopefully it ends with at least a wild card spot or a division win, but it hasn't been the best of showings. After the All-Star break, we're barely holding on. Hopefully things get better.
Okay. Greg, thoughts on the Rangers?
The Rangers are kind of a team that's kind of on the opposite spectrum of the Twins. They're a team that usually has pretty good offense.
Yep.
Have a few decent good pitchers. I think that losing DeGrom was a big blow, but for the most part, they've been able to carry the load and kind of shift the responsibilities onto some other pitchers, bring some other people up, get good, decent middle relief every now and then. But they're a team that's searching. I mean, they've got pop. They've got a star rookie, probably going to win Rookie of the Year or be close with Young over there at third base. But I think that the Rangers are definitely a team that needs to make a move either for like maybe a third starter or a decent reliever, like we were talking about with the Cardinals. They're definitely looking for a lockdown closer, because I think that's been a weak spot for them is closing out games. Being able to seal the deal and not have to go into extras. So they're definitely kind of fishing around trying to get Jordan Hicks from my Cardinals. But I think that the Rangers are holding strong, but this is a very competitive division. I mean, most of the teams are above 500 besides the A's. So, and out of that division, you're still going to have two or three that are going to be sniffing around the wild card when it's all said and done. So,
yep.
I think the Rangers are just a team that kind of needs just maybe a little bit more pitching, and I think they'll be just fine.
Yep. Well, yeah, no, the Rangers. I think they've been in the first most of the year. It'd be nice for them to go out and seal the deal for some starting pitching. Maybe a bullpen guy, but I think the offense is definitely gelling. And yeah, that young third baseman they got, definitely I think I can see winning Rookie of the Year. So moving to the National League, I don't think there's much to be said for the NL East. Braves are 10 games up. Barring a Minnesota-type collapse that we've seen happen before, I think the Braves got that division locked up. Phillies leading the wild card by a half a game. Greg, you got anything to put on for the East there in the NL?
Just as of late, I've noticed that the Braves, and I'm not trying to stir up anything, but I've noticed that the Braves are a team that they're leading their division. They're definitely going to win that division. I don't think anything catastrophic is going to happen. I think that the Phillies are going to make a decent push. I think that they're going to continue to hit the ball well over the last course of the season. But I think that the thing about the Atlanta Braves, I watched them play a few games against the Red Sox, and we're talking about pitching matchups where they should have had control. We're talking about overall lineup where they should have done better, and they lost. They lost that series to the Red Sox. Not that the Red Sox are a bad team, but I think that right now the Braves are coming up against some teams that they just haven't been matching up well with, and so they're kind of a team that I can see taking a slide a little bit like the Rays, but I think that they've got so many games on the Phillies that I think that it's going to be hard for the Phillies to overcome.
And that's the thing with baseball. Some teams need that push to keep going, and with them being 10 games up, I know the Braves have been there. They've been in the playoffs last couple of years, World Series champs the year before. So they know what it takes to win. I mean, so maybe they need that. Maybe they need the Phillies to be a little bit closer for them to get the push. But Chris, what's your thoughts? AL East over with, or do you see the Braves making a collapse?
I'm going to say right now it's over with, but there's still a lot of baseball to go. Teams can pick up steam and rapidly, so to speak, and but I think it's pretty much over. If they keep winning like they are, it's pretty much over.
Yeah. All right, let's move into the AL or NL Central. Hey, just looking, Big Dog, your Cardinals are out of last place, so there's a positive sign. But the Brewers are half a game up on Cincinnati, who's been, kind of hot recently since the All-Star break or before the All-Star break. So, Greg, thoughts on the Central? Do the Braves collapse? Does Cincinnati take them over? What's your thoughts?
The Brewers.
The Brewers,
yeah,
sorry. Yeah.
I think that the Brewers, they just picked up Carlos Santana, so I think they're about ready to move on from Rowdy Tellez, which is kind of a glaring spot that was looking at them the last season and a half, anyways. Because Rowdy Tellez was a decent guy, but he wasn't like a huge numbers guy. So to get someone with a little bit more experience, a little bit more pop, was a good move for them. I think that the Reds are so young and explosive at times that sometimes that can be their downfall. And right now they're kind of taking some growing pains. They started out hot. They were putting up a lot of runs. They've cooled off a little bit, and the Bruins were able to regain the lead in the Central. I think that the Brewers are going to do just enough. They've got excellent starting pitching. Burns has been on fire. I think that when you look at the overall health of the pitching staff, I think that advantage goes to the Brewers. So I think that the Brewers are going to do just enough to kind of stay ahead of the Reds. The Reds are kind of doing some weird talks, wanting to get rid of Jonathan India, who was the Rookie of the Year a year or two ago. He's a really good player. I know that the Reds are loaded on the infield, and they're trying to get something for India. I hate to see a guy like him go because he is kind of a spark plug, but I understand how the business works too. But I think that the Brewers are just a little bit more mature and have a little bit more pitching prowess, I think, to kind of get them over the top.
Okay. Chris, how about you in the Central there? Brewers leading. Do you see them falling? Do you see them holding on? What do you think?
I think I see them holding on. I mean, they're doing good right now, so we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I hate to, Tim's not here, but the Brewers have always been the Brewers to me, and they kind of fallen. They kind of like the Cubs. They start off strong and they'll end, missing the playoffs, or they'll start off slow and then kind of squeak into the playoffs. But I think with them adding Santana, I think it's going to help them a lot. Cincinnati, on the other hand, I can see that. I mean, if they get another batter, another arm on that team, I think that they could definitely make some noise. I mean, they got that young phenom, that Cruz. Man, guy's like 6'5", 6'6", playing shortstop, and just got a cannon of an arm. So they've been rumored to be looking to trade their top prospect shortstop that's in the AAA too, because they're going to ride with Cruz. So we'll see there. Pittsburgh's kind of surprised me. They started off hot. I mean, I guess it's kind of like Tampa Bay, but for a while there, we thought Pittsburgh was going to come out of nowhere and make a run, but Pittsburgh fallen off and became Pittsburgh again. And it sounds like McCutchen's open to being traded again, but I guess he's told the organization that he would like to stay in Pittsburgh for 2023. So we'll see what Pittsburgh does there. So, and then moving on to the West, Dodgers up by 3. San Fran behind them San Fran's in second, Arizona in fourth, or with 4 games back. So, Greg, what do you see for the Wild Wild West there in the NL?
Well, I mean, it's been clear to me in the trade, all the trade rumors and all the trade transactions and stuff, that the Dodgers are going all in. I mean, they've been making tons of trades. Been probably the busiest of all the teams so far, picking up pitching depth and everything that they need. I think that the Diamondbacks are an exciting young team, but I think that the Dodgers are they have a little bit more deeper pockets, and they're willing to do what it takes right now to win now. So I think that the Dodgers are going to keep hitting the ball well. They picked up Lance Lynn, who has decent stuff. I mean, I know that his ERA is higher than Snoop Dogg, but he does have a really good breaking ball. He has a decent fastball. He gets a lot of contact outs, not a high strikeout pitcher most of the time. But I think that picking him up was good because right now they've been rolling with a lot of guys from AAA, Emmett Sheehan, Grove. They've been just kind of patching together, the back end of their rotation, trying to get by because they've had some crucial injuries and haven't had the best pitching depth this year. So I think that the Dodgers have done just enough to make sure that they're not going to lose their grip on the West.
Yeah. Chris, how about you? Dodgers in the Wild Wild West. What do you think?
The West is definitely a wild, wild West. In both sides, but I feel like the Dodgers do have a lot of money to go out and get more talent, more players, and maybe they won't fall out of, first place, but they just got to get better, more signings and see what happens from there.
Yeah, I mean, Dodgers have kind of turned into the Yankees. They got the money. They're doing the things the right way and keeping their business ahead, but you just want to see them fall. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. And in the mid 80s, 90s, I was kind of a Dodgers fan because I like some of the players. But now it's just like, okay, I'd like to see San Fran overtake them. I'd like to see Arizona bounce back. But yeah, I think they're going to make a hold. They, like Greg said, they've been busy, so. As long as they're making moves and nobody else around is making moves, it's going to be their division to fall. Padres, on the other hand, they're 9 back. I think this is going to be a big offseason for them. I think they're going to have to determine which way they want to go. And as much as, we talked about them not blowing up the big three that they have, they may have to. So we'll see what happens. But again, trade deadline is just ticking away, hours away. So nothing I've seen so far come through, but so let's move on. I posted in our chat the other day. Somebody ranked their let's see, where is it? Their all-time players at each category, I guess. So well, we'll just kind of ramble off a couple here. So, Chris, your favorite player right now, or growing up? I mean, who's your favorite baseball player right now?
I know it's probably biased, but we'll go Nolan Ryan.
Okay. No, Big Dog, who's been your favorite player?
Growing up, I was a huge Roger Clemens fan. Through the years, all the strikeouts. All the wins and everything. So definitely he was my favorite pitcher growing up, kind of that era of the mid 80s to the early 90s. He was just so dominant. And then I was a big King Griffey Jr. fan too.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody that knows me knows Puckett's been my favorite player. I mean, outside of Puckett, I mean, Griffey, Ricky Henderson, I enjoyed watching them guys. Pitching wise, I mean, Clemens and Nolan Ryan for sure.
Puckett and Gwynn were the most likable players ever.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Least favorite player, Chris. Who's your least favorite player when it comes to baseball?
A-Rod.
Greg.
Probably John Rocker. I never really did like that guy.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play, but I saw him on another show. And yeah, I kind of agree with that too.
Yeah, for me, as much as I used to want this guy on my team, is when he left the Royals, signed with the Dodgers, and came out and made a comment that the fact that he was going to sign wherever the money was, whoever paid him the most, didn't care. And that's Zach Greinke. I used to want him on the Twins. I thought he was a heck of a, but his ego just got the best of him. I don't know. I don't want to see the guy get hurt. I just want to see him get beat every week. This one could be kind of up in the air. Best overall player, Greg. Who do you believe is the best overall player?
Gosh, the best overall player. I thought that if he would have stayed healthy, Bo Jackson probably. I mean, he had a cannon of an arm. He was fast. He could steal bases. He had a lot of pop. I know that's saying a lot because he had two sports. You know, he was focused. But I think that for the overall athleticism and stuff, I'd have to go with Bo Jackson and one of the biggest what ifs. I think that he probably would have been a Hall of Fame baseball player if he would have just stuck to baseball.
Well,
that's a good one. I like that. Chris?
You could say that about Dion. He played
Chris, your best overall player.
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I guess Ohtani if you want to go modern, but
there you go. No, that's fine. It's the players that you see. Now, for me, I'm going to kind of throw out a generic answer. I like the Bo Jackson answer. I like Ohtani. But I like, and some people will probably rip me for this, I'm going to say a guy like Michael Cuddyer, who you could just put it anywhere. You're going to get production from him. It may not be 100%, but it might be 50. It might be 70. I mean, Cuddyer played everywhere. And
Kendo too.
I just think that utility type player that you could just pencil it, Arise. Let's put Arise in there. You know, he may not produce 100%, but you're confident. Yeah, you can put him in left. You can put him in right. You can put him at short. You can put him at second. Put him behind the plate. I don't think Cuddyer's played behind the plate, but a guy like that, I think, to me, Cuddyer, Arise, I would put. Best hitter, Big Dog. The best hitter that you feel all time.
In my opinion, the best hitter probably was Ted Williams.
Ooh, okay.
You know, he had a 406 batting average one season, ended his last career at bat with a home run, missed out on a few years of baseball due to getting drafted, you know, during wartime. And so his career numbers, he probably could have ended up with an extra like 150 home runs, you know, or 120 home runs than what he already had. And I think he was in the high 500s, you know. So definitely probably could have been part of the 700 club. But yeah, a very good contact hitter, had eagle eye vision at the plate. I mean, you're talking about a guy that could see a 95 mile an hour fastball if they threw that hard back then, you know, and it just looked like it was a softball, you know, being pitched to him. So definitely awesome hand-eye control. Definitely had a great bat, had a great presence up there, and you know, I don't think he ever took a bad cut.
Yep, no doubt. Chris, the best hitter you've seen?
Probably Michael Young. Or no, I'm sorry, Josh Hamilton.
Hamilton's a good one. I like that. I got to go Tony Gwynn. I mean, that guy, you know, could slap the ball anywhere. You know, I mean, you could argue Hamilton. You could argue, you know, Greg's pick, but yeah, to me, best hitter Gwynn. The hitter with the most power.
To him too, wasn't he?
What's that?
I said Ted Williams was kind of like a mentor to Tony Gwynn.
Yep, exactly. Greg, the hitter with the most power, you thought?
You know, I'm going to either have to go with Jose Canseco with the moon shots, you know, but then it was kind of tainted with the steroid accusations, and then him confirming that he was the Mr. Steroids. But man, when I look back at old footage and stuff, I think pound for pound, Mickey Mantle had a lot of pop.
Yeah,
a lot.
Oh. Chris, how about you? The best power hitter you've seen?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can't think of one.
I mean, you know, Greg, you talk about the moonshots with Canseco. I mean, even Cecil Fielder. I gotta go. As much as I hate the team, Aaron Judge is just every time that guy just steps up there, it's just like you can't make a mistake because he's gonna go yard. I mean, I gotta go Judge. Best contact hitter, Greg. Who's the guy that can get that hit that you think best contact hitter?
I think if in any situation, but especially in pressure situations, it'd have to be your boy Tony Gwynn. Yeah. The guy wasn't going to strike out. He was going to put the ball into play. When you look at the stats of Greg Maddux, Pedro Martinez, all these guys facing them and everything, and he only struck out a handful of times maybe to these guys, if that. So I think that, if you need somebody to put the ball into play, get sacrifice fly, whatever you need, Tony Gwynn's your guy.
Yep. Chris? Best contact hitter.
I'd have to go with Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, I got Gwynn as the best hitter. I mean, definitely best contact hitter too. But outside of Gwynn, Puckett was always a good, contact hitter. It seemed like when it came to big moments, he was there. So I'd put Puckett there. Let's go to the best pitcher. Who's the best pitcher, Greg, that you've seen?
I'd like to say Roger Clemens because when I was a kid, he was, he had those 21 strikeouts, 20 strikeouts, and everything. Steve Carlton kind of comes to mind. Tom Seaver comes to mind. I'm probably going to roll with Roger Clemens, even though he never threw a no-hitter. He back in his prime, he was just gassing people.
Yeah. Chris, how about you? Who's the best pitcher you've seen?
I have to go with Ohtani. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Greg, I'm with you. I Clemens, Ryan Johnson. I mean, those three are just, and to know that Clemens never threw a no hitter with that stuff, I just boggles my mind. Just like Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young, and look at what his numbers were.
Yeah.
So, well, that was some topics I saw on Facebook. That I share them, see what you guys just thought. So I watch a lot of different sport podcasts, and a couple of topics came up that now I forgot which one was, but I want to get your guys' opinion. Greg, you're kind of in the same era as I am. Chris, you're a little younger. So one topic that was brought up, and if I could remember the podcast I saw it on, I would definitely give them credit for it. I'm not trying to steal their topic. I just thought it'd be a great talker. And it came out. Oh, I remember the second one. No. All right. So the first one is, should athletes be required to be role models? So, Greg, what's your thought on that?
There's been a debate for a long time. I know that Charles Barkley used to make a big stink about it and everything. I don't necessarily think that it should be required, but I think that if you're in the limelight, if you are in a professional job where all eyes are on you, I think that you should have it within you to want to try to act right and act accordingly and everything. I think that everyone's in control, of their own destiny, so to speak, but I definitely don't think that it should be like a mandatory thing or something that's punishable. But I definitely think that if you are an actor or a singer, any kind of entertainer, professional athlete, when you're out in public, you should do your best to set a good example and try to live the right way and be personable and kind. I think that should be the goal of anybody, is just to be a decent human being.
Okay. Chris, how about you? Should athletes, celebrities be required to be role models? What's your thoughts?
I think to a degree they should, because no matter what the sport is, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, sports like that, you're trying to get that next generation to play, to like the sport, whatever your initiative is.
Mm-hmm.
I think to a degree you should be a role model because that's who they're going to emulate. If a player's being, doing something they're not supposed to, sadly they're probably going to emulate it. But if they're doing something good, they will emulate it. So,
no, exactly. I think kind of to Greg's point, I think they shouldn't be required to be role models, but I think they should be open to welcoming it in, especially when you're in the public. Yes, that's your personal time, but be respectful. Be somebody. Especially if a little kid comes up and wants. I'm not going to say an autograph, but just wants to say, "Hey, thanks. You're my favorite player. Can I sign it?"
yeah.
I mean, if it's an adult, okay, be like, dude, you understand that this is my personal time. Please, and I've heard some celebrities do that when they're out and a family wants to get an autograph. The person will be like, "Hey, give me about a half hour. Let me have some me time, family time, and then come talk to me." So, but yeah, I think it should be required, but they should be open to welcoming it in, and some of it do. The other topic that was brought up, I think it was the same podcast. I didn't recall. Just heard the topic. And I know this is another big debate is should steroids just be accepted into sports, I guess. So, Greg, what's your thoughts?
I definitely don't think that steroids should be accepted in the sport.
Okay.
Now, when it came to the WWE and them coming down on steroids, I took a little bit more of an exception to it because you're talking about a sport that's not necessarily, it's a scripted sport. It's an entertainment sport.
What?
Breaking news.
So when they had that big trial and everything, and Hulk Hogan was testifying on behalf of Vince McMahon and everything, yep. I never got that, why they were getting carried away about steroids for people that were just kind of doing scripted, entertainment. But I definitely don't think that steroids should be allowed. Steroids are very harmful for your body, period. And it doesn't matter what kind of steroid, even if you're taking medicinal steroid like prednisone, it adds weight, causes a lot of potential health problems down the road. So I definitely don't think that steroids should be something that just gets a free pass. Now, when it comes to the witch hunt and everything that they did over baseball, I think that baseball was as much to blame over the steroids as the people that were using the steroids, because balls were flying over the fence. More fans were coming into the stands. They liked that money that was generated with the more offensive power and the more home runs that were flying out of the field and everything. And so I think that they cracked down a little bit too late on that because they looked the other way while the profits were really good. But I definitely think from this point going forward, I think that steroids should definitely not be allowed.
All right. Chris, how about you?
I don't know if they should be allowed, but at the same time, we know they're out there. Some that you may not take, steroids per se, but some medication that you may take may have a little bit of steroids, but it's kind of a, I don't know, double-edged sword kind of thing. I don't think you should egregiously do it, but there's some medications that have some kind of steroid in it, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that it is a controversy because, like Chris said, a lot of medication has them. I mean, if you're just doing it to, look like Aaron Judge, I mean, not saying that Aaron Judge is on there. I mean, on them.
If you want to look like Hulk Hogan or something like that, something big and strong, but
yeah, but if you go from Barry Bonds, Pittsburgh to Barry Bonds in San Fran, might be wrong. Granted, Barry Bonds is still a great hitter, should be in the Hall of Fame. Not going to dispute that. But if you're using them, some players said, "Oh, I took this to help me heal better, help me heal faster. Okay, I get it. But if you're using them just to, turn from, a puny guy to Andre the Giant or Incredible Hulk, then yeah, they should be banned. But on that, so final note here, just in case anybody hasn't seen baseball, ESPN's reporting, or I should say reporting the final, but the United States U-AAA team, U12 and under team, squeaked by the Netherlands last night. Final score 43-1. So
close.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody's like probably going to start. Oh, we should have pulled, put the brakes on it. How do you tell kids that age not to go out and play your best, Greg? I mean, yeah, the score might have been high, but how do you tell your kids to dial it back some?
I don't really see a huge issue, especially if the coach was. I mean, I played in baseball games where my team wasn't very good, and then the team started hitting left-handed, even though they weren't switch hitters and stuff, just to try to get out, try to get out of the inning and stuff like that. So, if there's that much of a discrepancy in the talent, I mean, I don't think you necessarily say, hey, let's take it easy, or just stand up there and take strikes or whatever. I don't think that's a good thing either from a coaching standpoint. Baseball is such a hard one because in basketball, you could run out the clock, not take a shot, run out the shot clock, give up a few lay-ins, whatever you needed to do, to kind of take it a little bit easier on your opponent if you had to do that. Baseball's a little bit different one, completely different. Football's a one too. You can take a knee, you can run the ball, which eats a lot of clock. So I think it'd be a really hard thing to do in baseball to try to say, hey, go up there and don't do anything or whatever. That's kind of a tough one to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. How about you?
Yeah, and say that you do say, okay, we need to back off a little bit, and you do, and then all of a sudden the other team scores, 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs. Now you're going to try to have to play catch up, to get some of those runs back. It depends on the sport and how far along you are leading it, but I don't know if you'd say, hey, we need to pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I had a situation when my son was playing, I think it was second grade soccer, and I had 2 kids on there that just could score at will. Granted, I know it's a little unorganized, but I'm sitting there and it's just like, okay, how do I tell these kids not to do it? And finally, actually, a parent spoke up and said, hey, told her kid to, start passing the ball more, stop scoring all the time. So, but yeah, it's hard to tell kids this age to dial it back and, look at strikes, which reminded me of something. Greg, I don't know if you saw it, Chris. I don't know if you saw it. What about Bryce Harper just dropping the bat at the plate the other day, just taking pitches and just dropping? Did you guys see that?
No.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'll have to look at the video, find out if I can find it. But yeah, I guess I don't know if there's some disagreement in the clubhouse or something. But yeah, I guess he went up to at bat, and I think he just kind of just dropped his bat, while the pitch was pitching. I don't know. I haven't seen that. I thought maybe you guys saw it. But anyway, yeah. But I'll have to look, and we'll have to talk about that in an upcoming show. So, Greg, final thoughts here. Your summer is almost ending. You might have to get back to work, huh?
Yeah, I'm actually excited to get back to work. Unemployment, unenjoyment, but yeah, but it's been beautiful weather here. Just enjoying the summer, just enjoying the rest of the baseball season. I basically am not going to bet any more baseball until maybe the playoffs because teams are winning that shouldn't, and teams are are losing that shouldn't. So, and a lot of things are happening that shouldn't be normally happening. So I'm going to lay off until it gets to be maybe a little bit more predictable. But I'm excited for the last half. I think that we're going to see probably the most exciting division race in all of baseball right now is going to be the AL West. With the Mariners coming on strong, the Astros are playing decent ball. The Rangers are trying to, make sure that they can hold on to that lead. I think that's going to be a good one. I mean, we can definitely count the A's out at this point, but the other 4 teams, it's going to be a good race to the finish. They're all over 500. They've all been trying to make some moves. And the biggest thing in that division is Ohtani staying put for now. So we'll see how everything works out with Giolito getting a change in scenery, getting a change in weather. He's a great strikeout pitcher. I think that he's going to give him a little shot in the arm. So I'm looking forward to that race.
Yep. And if everybody's watching, just want to know Chris's update for the World Series. Kansas City and the Nationals combined record of 73 wins, and they're both sitting in last place. So, Chris, final thoughts.
You win some, you lose some. Hopefully the football, pick will be a little more better, but that'll be tomorrow. Morning tailgate will get started tomorrow, getting ready for the season.
I don't think his picks were that off base. I think he thought that it said 2032 and not 20.
Maybe you might
maybe
be seeing the future. So
I could have. I don't know. But no, morning tailgates tomorrow, and then check out all of our shows on Coast to Coast.
Yep, baseball's wrapping up. I think we got a good battle in at least 5 of the 6 divisions. I think Braves are going to boot on cruise control, but yeah, the West is definitely going to be a good one to watch. Chris said it. Tomorrow morning tailgate returns our preseason startup to the 2023 season. We'll find out in the next few weeks where Chris is going with his Super Bowl picks. Myself and Tim will be back Monday for C2C ranking. We got another great categories to break down. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks for Greg, for Chris to be a part of the show. And we'll see you all next week on Deck. Have a good night.